Kamp's back. We're back, baby.
Kamp is back, and we have another very special guest today, Mr. Michael Margetis.
Margetis is in the house.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So you are a improv comic.
Yep.
You do that. You have your own show called Pizza Party that you and a group of people do once a month, is it?
Yeah. We do different shows, different places, but right now we do kind of like one show a month at Crescent Ballroom.
Nice. I love that place.
Yeah. Like weekends, usually like 6 or 7 start time. We do an improvised morning news show. So we like bring improv into like a dumb news show format, and we have different bits. The joke is that we're filming live a Florida morning news show in Arizona at night, which is real dumb.
Awesome. And then is it like crowd suggestion kind of stuff?
Yeah. And crowd suggestions to do stuff like we do a movie review segment. We do a segment where somebody makes like a video of a parade we're commentating on and we haven't seen it, so we have to improvise like weird footage of couples fighting interlocked with it. So just real weird stuff.
Dude, my high school had an improv comedy club, and I tried out for it actually, and I didn't get in because I swore during the audition. But I had friends that were in it, and I've always been a fan of like improv. And
That's cool you had that in high school. I don't think our high school had that.
Yeah, I'm trying
and
to
if
remember.
we did, I just didn't know about it.
I can't remember the name of it. It was like the something lemurs or something.
Lemurs?
Yeah, something
Like
lemurs or
animals.
something. They had like their name, but it was like all my friends who we all smoked weed, and they would like, be like, oh, we got to go to the lemur rehearsal. And I was like, cool. But it looks like so much fun.
Yeah, especially when you've been doing it a couple of years, doing improv high is pretty fun.
Yeah.
But like you have to be like pretty confident with doing it to like open the doors weed presents to your brain.
Yeah. What was the Netflix special that came out not too long ago? Is it
the Ben Schwartz and Middleditch?
Middleditch, yeah. And then also the guy from he was in The Office. I forget his name. He's Silicon Valley. He's like a really
Thomas Middleditch, right? Or T.J. Miller?
No, I'm thinking of
Zach Woods.
Zach Woods.
Yeah, he's
what character is he in The Office?
He was after Toby gets let go. He was like the new guy that comes
the skinny
in.
Tall guy.
Yeah,
that kind of has the like robotic features. Yeah,
dude,
that guy's funny.
He is amazing.
Yeah, he's known very much as like a god in the improv world.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he's like, I love like watching what clips I've seen of his improv because he always leads with really big characters and makes really big choices, which is the best way to do it.
So did you start with the improv route? Like, what was your intro to acting? So, like, what was your intro into getting into that, or like at what age?
18. So when I started ASU.
Okay, so right out of high school.
Yeah, I had known the guy. Actually, I still do Pizza Party with this guy Sam. We've known each other since we were 12 because we met on a movie set of a local movie that was filmed here.
Were you acting in that?
Yeah. I was one of the 5 main kids. I was Mumps.
So we're sitting with a famous child actor.
Yeah. It never took off. The most notable thing about
in our eyes, you're famous. You're a famous child actor.
I haven't been in any movies.
Yeah.
I haven't been in any movies either. So you're beating us. If that makes you feel good.
It's on. I think it's on Tubi or Amazon. It's called Arizona Summer, and it's with Lee Majors and Morgan Fairchild and Bug Hall. And me.
So I could go home tonight and watch 12-year-old Margetis in this movie on TV.
Yeah. Okay. I have one of my big lines in it is I see a floating piece of poop in the lake and I go, turd! And it's just a zoom in on my face.
Dude. I felt like there was an actual turd right there.
I know, dude. I thought Stevie turded.
Yeah. But Joey Travolta directed it, who's John's older brother.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So it was a really bizarre experience.
Was that your first acting experience?
No.
For you?
I've been doing like Valley Youth Theater and acting around the Valley since I was 5, 6.
Really?
Yeah.
Did your parents throw you into that? Like, why did you just start doing that?
I was like one of those kids that used to go up to strangers in the mall and start performing for them. Just because I was like
one of those
nuts.
kids, like anybody knows about that.
I've never heard of those kids, bro.
Oh, those kids. There's a couple of us.
They're on leaches now.
yeah, the harnesses.
So you're 5 years old. What are you doing to a stranger in the mall? Like what kind of situation?
This sounds like Forensic Files right now, but like I guess I would be like, like doing characters or like trying to do jokes and
cool.
like singing stupid songs my brain made up.
That's incredible.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That takes a lot of balls for like a 5-year-old to start doing that.
Yeah, that's one of the things I kind of, even now as a performer, I recognize in myself. That's maybe my best thing is like, I just really make big choices and I'm just like, fuck it.
Like not afraid to take big risks.
Right.
Yeah.
Because if you make a big choice in a super bold character, you are pigeonholing yourself into this thing for however long it is. And then there's only so many ways that you can go. And so it's like, if you're thinking on top of your head, it can be limiting, which then puts you into this kind of mode where you have to do something really amazing to get out of it. And you usually do. It seems like a lot like, improv with music and jazz and that kind of stuff where you're just like, I'm going here and I need to find my way back here somehow. And then I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I just have to do it. And that's kind of where you can, high stress and come up with your best stuff. Yeah.
Well, Matt Damon in those Bitcoin commercials says fortune favors the bold. And I think Will Hunting is correct. I guess it's just like I don't have I'm able to relocate. I'm able to put a pause on my shame on stage.
Yeah.
Not that I don't experience shame. I do way too much so in my day-to-day life. But but on stage, I'm just like, it's so easy for me to hide behind a character like, oh, I didn't do that. The character did it.
That's awesome, dude. I really want to come out and check you guys out.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So I heard a story from our friend Stevie here, and he said something about you getting stranded in the ocean.
Yeah,
Can
that
we
happened.
talk about that for a second? We're gonna get into our love for movies, and then we'll start talking about my favorite movie, Oldboy, in a little bit. But let's I just want to chat for it first.
Oh yeah, so this story, I got left out in the middle of the ocean, was right after my parents' divorce. I was in 5th grade at the time, and it was the summer, and my dad took me on a vacation. It was just me and my dad.
Yeah.
We went on a vacation to, have you ever heard of?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
like all-inclusive, right?
Yeah, all-inclusive, which for a little fat boy, let me tell you, like having 5 entrees.
You're living.
Oh, yeah. I ate so much lobster tail on that trip, I'm surprised I didn't die.
That's so funny because like when they like with like the commercials for it's like for like adults, it's like you can fuck whoever you want. Like they give you that vibe of like it's like kind of like anything goes at and then it's like for you they got this look at these buffets.
Yeah, they're like you can fuck any lobster tail you want.
Anything you like.
Yeah. But no, we went there and it was fun, and we decided we wanted to do a snorkeling tour because we love me and my dad both love like underwater sea life, and we think it's like really fascinating. So
it's in Jamaica or?
This was in Turks and Caicos, which is in the British West Indies.
Okay.
So we go on this trip, and it's a 3-hour tour, and we're kind of like making jokes about Gilligan's Island and 3-hour tour. There was a divorced woman who my dad met there who was really cool that was supposed to go with us. But she was late for whatever reason, and as the boat was pulling away, she was like coming up to the beach.
Oh no!
So, but what happened was we went to different places, and then we started snorkeling on this reef. We started swimming, and I got water in my mask, so I put my head up, and I realized everyone was getting back on the boat. And
how many people were in this like group?
Probably about 12.
Okay.
And a tour guide. And I tapped my dad on the shoulder and I'm like, hey, let's swim back to the boat. So we start swimming and the boat starts up and it starts going and we think it's going to loop around, but it just disappears in the distance. And I remember I can still hear my dad saying, come back here, you motherfuckers. Fucker. And just echoing.
Wait, so you're snorkeling, you watch this go away. Are you somewhere where you can stand?
No.
Okay.
Dude, that's so
we are
fucking
floating.
Scary, bro.
I have a life vest on. My dad doesn't.
Can you see land?
No. which is the scariest thing.
Dude, you can't see land at all?
We can't see land.
In no direction.
Well, here's what we saw. We saw a little speck of white, which could have been a floating piece of garbage, really, because who do you know? It's so far away. But my dad decided this was land and we were going to swim towards it. So we did that, and it was during Hurricane Debbie. So we were kind of fighting a little bit, like how far we'd swim and then get like carried back. And then it started raining and I was crying. And this is a funny part, but like I was so distraught and I thought I was going to die. So I made a confession to my dad that I thought I had to get my conscience clean.
Whoa.
And I just
before we get into this,
dude, I'm scared though. This is scary.
How long into this? Like, how long are you out there alone before you decide it's time to come clean?
I think we're swimming for 2.5 hours.
Oh shit. Okay.
So I think we swam a total of 5 hours we were 5 miles out from shore.
Okay. All right. So
you swam off all that lobster tail, probably.
Oh yeah, dude. Talk about a workout. Yeah.
All right. So you're 2.5 hours completely stranded at sea. You're looking at a speck of light, and it's your only hope. But you keep getting pushed back, and you think this might just be it. So tears are streaming down my face. I have a guilty conscience, and I go, "Dad, I masturbate." And he goes, because he's like, "What?" And then he goes, "Yeah, you probably do it a lot." Because your dad was probably just like, "Yeah, we're fucking dying out here." And then my son is just like, "I fucking jerk off."
Let me ask you this: was your dad trying to hold it together for you, or could you tell that he also thought you guys were gonna die?
He thought we were gonna die. He confirmed this to me when I got older.
But in that moment, he did not say that to you, did he?
No.
What did he say? What was his attitude towards you in that moment while you guys are stuck in the ocean?
We have one shot here. Let's work together. We just have to keep swimming towards there. We can't wait for people to come rescue us. We got to take our lives in our hands. We just got to keep
So he went
swimming.
into full dad mode. Like, we got this. We're going to do this.
Yeah, he later I overheard him telling someone at a Christmas party, "Yeah, if Michael wasn't with me, I probably would have just drowned myself." I thought was so fucked up.
So essentially, you saved your dad's life.
Yeah.
Essentially I did, and he saved mine because I would just probably.
I just can't stop thinking about the dad just being like, "Holy shit, we're gonna fucking die." So you're just like,
"Yeah,
I masturbate." He's just like, "What the fuck are you talking about right now? We're gonna die."
Oh, I know, it was so weird.
You did they end up coming back around?
No. So
sorry, how old are you again?
I'm 10. Okay, I started masturbating when I was like 7 or 8. I know, really early.
That's early.
No semen was being produced, but I just...
You thought you had to get one of these days.
Yeah, dude, I found my dad's stack of Hustlers, and it awoke something in me.
Yeah. you knew one of those days it was going to be worth it.
Yeah, I did know.
Do you have like nightmares now? Ever be from that experience?
No. In fact, I love the ocean.
Really?
Yeah, I was at a bachelor party in Newport Beach recently, and one of my favorite things to do every morning is just go out to the ocean and like body surf and like have the waves take me. Let
me ask you this: was there ever like we might get eaten by sharks moment that went through your head?
Yeah. And my dad confirmed that there was no sharks out there, which was total bullshit, but smart on him to completely lie to me.
Oh, like he just straight up told you there's no...
Yeah, he was like, typically there's no... But he said it in a way where I believe him, like, typically in these types of waters, there's no sharks and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Honestly, I can't think of a scarier situation to be stuck in the middle of the
There's
ocean.
that one horror movie,
Open Water.
Yeah.
We saw it together.
Shark, you and your dad. So,
the shark movie?
You guys had to swim all the way back to shore?
Yeah. So when we got back to shore, we didn't know which island we were on. All the houses were boarded up because it was during Hurricane Debbie.
It's a good time to go snorkeling.
Yeah.
Fucking hurricane.
Hurricane Debbie. And then we found Canadian construction workers, and they took us back. But one of the funniest visuals is us like walking around this village, and all these locals are staring at us because we have like snorkel gear on. We look like aliens.
Like idiots, yeah.
Yeah, they're like, "Who the fuck are these idiots?" So we get back to the hotel, And the first thing they ask us is like, how's your day today? And we're like, pretty bad. Could we have a manager?
Sue you. Yeah.
So we talked to them. We ended up getting a free trip back. But when we were going back to our hotel, we saw everybody who was on that tour with us banded together in a mob. And they turn their head and they go, "You're alive!" And we're like, whoa, what happened? And they told us that they told the tour guide, hey, there's a man and his son who are missing here. We got to go back and find them. And the guy goes, I don't care. I'm going home.
No fucking way.
Yeah. So they went to the front desk and were like, there's a man and his son. They were left out there. At the end of the trip, their bags were still on the boat, blah, 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 blah. And they lied to the people and said, oh, we located them and rescued them. And they're back at the resort now.
Oh my god.
This dude hates his job so much. He's like, sorry.
Did you guys didn't like sue him? I would have sued the fuck out of him.
I think my dad should have sued them,
Yeah.
but we settled for a free trip back there, which the place was really expensive, so it was nice.
So you guys went again?
Yeah, and it was a worse time. We had a worse experience.
Did you go snorkeling again?
My dad,
How would you have a worse experience?
Yeah, that's impossible.
Did you get stuck in the ocean again?
They were out of lobster.
No, my dad brought a very emotionally fragile lady he was dating. He met in church divorce group. And she had like a legit mental breakdown by the pool and started accusing my dad of like having sex with all these people at the resort.
Oh, wow.
It was like, it was terrible and insane, but in a completely different way.
Yeah.
But I will say this.
So
when we were talking to the hotel people, you know, the manager, we're like, well, you're going to fire this tour guide, right? And what they said haunted us. They said, let's just say he'll be working for a long time with no pay. And it's like,
oh, you can do that here, huh?
Yeah, it's like, what motivation is it going to have not to do that to someone else? I bet he did it to someone else.
Yeah. So he's just a slave to the scuba
He's still
divers.
there. He's like, all right, guys.
Yeah, he'll be working. Yeah. Well, because it was in the Turks and Caicos, which I don't know what their local laws are or anything like that.
They said that to you?
Yeah. And we were just like
at the front desk, dude, this place sounds fucking insane. I would never, it's just the fact that they left you and then they lied, like the front desk lied to you and then they're just like, he's our slave.
Would you go scuba diving?
I've been.
You have?
Yeah.
When did you do that?
I went in Hawaii a bunch.
Oh, nice. Cool. I've never scuba. I don't think I've ever done
not
that.
Scuba. No, sorry, snorkel. I've never done scuba. I don't know. Wait, you guys were scuba diving?
We were snorkeling.
Okay,
we weren't scuba certified yet.
Are you now?
Yeah.
Dude, scuba diving.
We went to the pool in Tempe to get certified.
Scuba diving would be crazy.
There's ladders out there.
Yeah.
Because that is another world. Like how you were saying you and your dad are really fascinated with underwater shit. It's like you go down there, it is a different universe.
I think I'd have a hard time getting out of my head of just the restricted, like the breathing.
Yeah, it's a little anxiety inducing, at least when I did it last, which I would have been like 16 or 17.
Yeah.
I think we went to Mexico and did it. And just getting used to like the pressure and the fact that you're breathing underwater and like you're like, how am I doing this? Am I going to run out of oxygen?
Right.
Didn't a bunch of kids recently get attacked by some sharks because they were doing the cage thing out in the ocean?
No.
I heard about this.
Really?
I think it was in New Zealand or something. Stevie,
Dude,
you know what I'm talking about?
There's a lot of sharks out there in New Zealand.
It was like kind of recent, I believe, where these kids were fucking around in a shark cage and one of them opened it or the shark got in there or something.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
I did not hear about that.
First, I think it's shark attack for me. Like the way I don't want to go down, I think it's getting eaten by a shark.
I don't know, dude. Honestly, just like slowly drowning like you were about to do sounds pretty fucking bad.
Yeah, I've heard drowning is really painful. I think drowning in sharks, they're painful. I don't think either is as painful as being set on fire and burning to death.
Yeah.
I know that's like
but the thing is, you're right. So if you don't get eaten by the shark, but you are out there waiting for 6 hours while you're slowly drowning, waiting for a shark to eat you, but the shark never eats you, and then you just drown, that sucks.
Well, it's like because with the shark, it will be quicker than the long thing. And if you get
shark's gonna fuck you up fast.
If you get lit on fire, obviously it's probably gonna hurt a little bit. I'm just gonna go ahead and say that.
Yeah.
But you'd probably black out, you suffocate, you kind of pass out fairly quickly without oxygen and any of that. So if you're just out there and just depleting away into the ocean.
Bears too. I mean,
stuff.
bears eat you alive. I'm pretty sure. Like they'll just
Yeah,
eat.
but
They'll like
that's
start
quick.
eating your legs like while you're just screaming.
Yeah.
That would suck.
Well, I mean, I think it's like the anticipation is the worst thing. It's like what you fear is maybe not necessarily the thing that happens, but like the lead up to it.
Yeah.
And I think that's torture, basically. It's like mental torture.
Dude,
Yeah.
can you imagine just a shark? You see the fin coming towards you, and then he starts circling you. And you don't. That would be so whack.
Yeah, I don't like that. So once you guys get back,
I hate sharks, dude. I hate the ocean.
Did your
They're
dad
bad.
ever bring back up what you had confessed to him,
Or
or
no.
was it was just
No.
left out in the ocean forever?
No.
You
It
guys,
was
he
out in
left
the
that
ocean
one
forever.
out on the ocean for you.
I think the only other time is before I went on my senior prom, he gave me a condom and said, "In case you need it." Spoiler alert: I didn't need it, and I had a girlfriend at the time.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Oh shit! So you also, along with the improv comedy and everything, you do movie reviews.
Yeah.
Margetis movie reviews.
Yeah, I that was a project I started over COVID because I was literally, I think the year of 2020, I watched like 500, 600 movies.
Multiple a day. You're putting in numbers.
Yeah, multiple a day because there was nothing to do during quarantine. And I started it as just out of boredom. Like, I'm watching all these movies and I want to talk with them, but there's no one to talk with about us. So why don't I just write?
Yeah.
And I started it over Halloween because my favorite genre to write about is horror films, especially horror films of the 1980s.
Okay.
So I'm super knowledgeable and I nerd the fuck out for Freddy Krueger and stuff. So I just started writing, and I think now I have like just over 200 articles on it, and it's been up for 3 years.
And where you posting these?
It's called MargetisMovieReviews.com.
Awesome.
It's a WordPress site.
Sick.
Yeah.
Cool.
So your whole life, have you always just been super into films and?
Yeah, kind of going back to my dad. I always was super into films. I know we were over in Amsterdam when I was in 4th grade. Because my dad had a dental convention there, and I stayed in the hotel room one night, and kind of just as fate would have it, Reservoir Dogs came on.
Oh.
And that kind of started my love for like film and movies, because I'm like, I didn't know your main characters in movies could be bad guys.
Yeah.
I didn't know there could be no moral message to a movie. I didn't know like you could be this violent or like this flippant or like just kill everyone. Like, so it really kind of started my love for movies. And then, like I said, I got a Blockbuster card and then just started seeing.
What'd you call it earlier?
Would you refer to that era?
Summer of Margetis. Yeah, because it was like
That's the name of the episode.
Yeah. Boogie Nights, Usual Suspects, like all the big ones, Fight Club, 7. Like I was seeing all these movies for the first time and my mind was blown.
For me, it was definitely high school.
Oh yeah.
I had one of my best friends his name was also Andrew.
Yeah.
He was a massive movie fan, and his family just had like tons of movies. So he was the one that introduced me to all the Tarantino films, and like Stanley Kubrick stuff, and like just all the like stuff that people get really obsessed over. And he was so obsessed with it that I got me super into it. And yeah, that's cool.
I still remember my Stanley Kubrick DVD set my dad got me for Christmas. I think I was in like 5th or 6th grade. And like just watching all the movies on that set over and over again, like just like in awe.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, I was watching like the IFC channel as a kid, like trying to get that sneak peek at a boobie or something.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
I was forced to end up watching, 2-hour foreign films just for the one chance. And then before I knew it, I was like, deep into City of God. I'm like, oh, this is like one of the best movies I've ever seen. And then I would see like Dogtooth and I'd be like, this is the most brutal, like fucked up, sad story that just doesn't really get much better, but kind of does at the end, and it kind of opened my eyes to, these really dark, fucked up stories I can't even imagine somebody can think of. And not only can I not imagine somebody can think of it, but to write it out and film it in a beautiful way, which I feel like leads me to my all-time favorite movie that we have you here to talk about today is Oldboy, 2003, South Korean film. Park Chan-wook Is that the director?
Yeah, Park Chan-wook.
Yeah.
Actually, 2003 in Korea. I don't think it made its way to the States till like 2005.
Okay. Yeah. So this movie, I know as soon as I watched it, I was living in California with the band, and I saw it, and it blew me away. And like everybody loves like movies with wild endings, but this one is special, and it's something that you can't really see coming until it hits you, and you're like, "What the fuck did I just watch?" And I remember as soon as I watched it, I got Stravs, and I was like, "Stravs, you have to watch this movie. Like, it is insane." I made you watch it way back then, and you were just like, "This is horrible." That
was
like
the beginning
insane.
of me understanding what I was getting myself into when Ryan told me to watch a movie.
Oh,
I was
okay.
excited about it.
Yeah. Whenever I'm like, "Dude, you have to watch this movie," like, and I'm like, very
I know it's going to be
adamant about it.
especially fucked up.
Oh yeah,
It's like Midsummer or something. But yeah, so this one's like my all-time favorite movie. I've seen it probably 20 times. You also have seen this a million times, right?
Yeah, I saw it for the first time in.
This is your Oldboy's your all-time favorite?
All-time favorite
All-time
movie.
favorite.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's like because there's so many other movies that I absolutely love, and I have favorite movies of all genres and different things. But the one I always come back to, of like, to me, it's just a perfect story. It's beautifully written. It's shot amazingly. The same guy that did Parasite, is that correct?
No, I don't. I mean, I don't think the same cinematographer. Definitely not the same director, because Parasite's Bong Joon-ho, and
I thought Bong Joon-ho did the film, the cinematography, but I might be wrong.
No, I forget his name, but
I'll figure it out.
Yeah, I think the guy who's Bong Joon-ho's cinematographer did that Edgar Wright movie Last Night in Soho.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Oh, it's an okay movie. It's shot really well.
Yeah.
He's the best part of that team, definitely. But yeah, I saw Oldboy for the first time in Spain on a vacation, and the TVs in the room just had Spanish language channels, so we didn't really understand them. So the hotel had like a little video store where you could rent DVDs. And one of the DVDs I picked up one night for me and my family was Oldboy.
Do you have subtitles?
Yeah, it had
Right.
English
Yeah,
subtitles.
It's such
which
a
was,
weird one
you
to
know,
be in a hotel or
Yeah.
like, you know.
Yeah, but what
I know, because it's like,
yeah.
It's like, watch this with your family.
Yeah.
well, not only that, but like where he's imprisoned for a long time feels like a little it is like a little hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I'm imagining you in the same exact spot in the
Yeah.
same hotel.
You're looking around.
It was weird because we hated the movie, and then this music started to play and gas came in through the door and we all passed out.
yeah, exactly.
The ants start crawling
the
all
ants
over.
started crawling me. I saw a giant ant out by the pool.
Yeah.
No, because what attracted me to it is I think it had a little Tarantino blurb on it.
Yeah,
where it was
for
like
sure.
Tarantino presents or brings to you, because Quentin Tarantino's a huge like Asian cinema fan in general.
Mm-hmm.
I never caught
especially
that. I didn't
South
know that.
Korean. Yeah. He always like does these lists, and in the early 2000s, before really a lot of people knew about him, he was putting on like Bong Joon-ho and Park Chan-wook's movies on his lists of favorites, and like that got American cinephiles interested in this whole new world of film in like South Korea or Japan, or even like China. Did I say China like Trump?
Yeah,
China.
China.
I have a fun fact. You guys, I feel like you guys probably already know this because you're so like obsessed with the movie. But did you know that the main actor apparently is what would be described as a vegetarian Buddhist?
Yeah.
And so he when they were shooting the scene of him eating the octopus,
That's one of my all-time favorite shots in the entire movie.
it's crazy.
The whole
I
sequence,
forgot. So I rewatched this 2 days ago because I want to get ready for this.
Yeah.
I think I only saw it once before,
Yeah.
back years ago, like probably 10 years ago when he told me to watch it. So anyways, in between scenes, I guess he was praying and like trying to like ask for forgiveness because he felt so bad that he had to eat this octopus.
Yeah.
So that's another thing too. 'Cause I looked it up last night or the other night when I was watching it because I was like, "Is this real? Like, this looks so real. Like, this must be real."
Right.
It is real.
It is real.
No, it's real.
And so when you bite an octopus's head, that's like how you kill it, right? And then it doesn't it like supposed.
No, the tentacles still go, and that's why it's so dangerous because if you don't chew it up enough, the tentacles can stick into your throat and you can like suffocate
you.
Yeah. So do you know anything about the filming of that scene particularly? Because I was kind of reading about it and I was like, this is pretty nuts.
I think hot sauce helps stun it.
Really?
When you're eating it raw. I know when I went to Korea for...
Did you eat raw? Did you eat live octopus?
I tried to, but they would not serve it to my dumb American ass.
Was this an Oldboy influenced decision?
Yeah, and they knew why. They knew why I was asking because every American probably comes up to them and is like, "Oldboy."
Yeah,
and they're just
do
like,
you have any bells you can ring before I take a bite of this? I really thought about getting a tattoo of that scene because it just when it just shows his face. And the tentacles are going across his face, and he's just like brutally eating it because he doesn't know why he's eating it even. And so it's this like whole like animalistic, like I just need to eat something raw because he's been trapped in, and all he's had is fucking pot stickers from the Blue Dragon. I forget the name of the place, but all he's had is pot stickers for the last 10 years, is it? Or 15? 15 years. And one of the quotes, I think, is something along the lines of like, Stevie, if I would have known that it would have been 15 years, would it make it easier or harder?
Yeah.
Can you throw up an image of that? Like a still of like him eating the octopus?
Yeah. So we're going to tell everybody to watch this movie before we do this episode. So I think we can like give, like, should we do full dive on it and just like talk about what actually is happening?
I don't care.
Yeah. Spoiler alert it. Let's just watch the movie. But so it starts off with him being a drunk asshole, and the one like redeeming thing is he loves his daughter, but he's obviously not with his wife, and he's like trying to buy her a gift, but he keeps spending like gambling his money, I believe, and spending all of his money on everything, and he buys her these like little cute little wings, and he gets arrested for just being a drunk little asshole. And next thing you know, he wakes up in isolation, this like hotel looking studio hotel apartment looking room with no windows, but there's like a fake outdoor scene, I believe, on the wall. And all he has is a TV. He has no idea why he's there or how long he'll be there. And every day he just watches TV and he learns from the television and tries to figure out who put him there and why they put him there.
As he says, the TV is his church, his best friend, and his lover.
Okay, that, dude, is so dark and like weirdly true with like, I don't know, there's so many aspects of the film that actually resemble elements of like society currently.
Yeah.
Which are like very true and dark, and like I thought that was really interesting.
Well, I feel like most people don't give Oldboy credit of how human and humane of a film it is. I don't think you get it when you're a teenager and you watch it, but watching it as an adult, you're like, he is so concerned about like the struggle and inner workings of these characters.
Right.
Not only that, but I know we're trying to dive into it, but like
keep going.
the overarching like harsh reality of, I guess, like karma.
Yeah.
It tells like a massive story of karma.
Yeah.
And how like he's this drunk asshole, and then where he ends up.
Yeah.
It still doesn't like make up for the things that he did. And like he talks in it, like when he's writing in the journal and talking about all of his sins, he's like, I've sinned so much in my life. Blah, blah, blah. And he's like kind of like reflecting on all of the terrible things that he did and ways that he behaved.
Yeah. But even then he can't figure out why he's in there because nothing he's done in his brain can like make up for why would he be stuck there. He's like, he was a drunk, he was a bad father, and I think it alludes to like him like cheating on his wife at that time
with like a ton of women.
Right. And but like for me, with the overall theme of like, obviously it's a revenge story, but for it to be a revenge story where you're not rooting, like you're rooting for him because you want to figure out what's going on. And usually in a revenge film, you feel good when that person gets their revenge. But this movie just feels like nobody wins. Like revenge isn't necessarily the right thing because it's bad. It's devastating for every single person in this movie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think like the key line to the movie that shows up at the end is when he says, even though I'm no better than a beast, don't I deserve to live? Which I think it should be the log line of the movie, which, is, back to like, it has so much empathy for this character that And the whole movie is like that it would seem false to end on like he's triumphant with his revenge.
Yeah.
Which most American films always end with that. It always ends with,
Yeah, because, I mean, Roger Ebert said this, and I agree with him, that most American movies are made for children. Mm-hmm. And most films made outside the U.S. are made for adults.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Wow. So when he's in there, he's in captivity, and he's, every now and then a song plays, and they gas the room, and he wakes up and his hair is trimmed and his nails are cut.
Yeah, and he says they're gracious bastards.
And every day they give him food, and it's just the same fried dumplings every single day forever. And one day on TV, he sees that his wife had been murdered. And he's been in this place probably for a few years at that point, I believe. And he's getting all the blame for the murder because he's disappeared. They have no idea where he is. He's been a piece of shit, drunk, asshole guy, bad father, walked out on his family and kids years beforehand. And now he's being blamed by, everyone as the murderer of his wife. And the only thing he really loves is his daughter, but the wife is like the only real anchor he has to like getting back to his daughter.
Yeah.
So fast forward a bit, we don't have to go like scene by scene on this thing, but it's like eventually he gets out, which is another like beautiful scene of there's weird hypnotists and noises and stuff going on, and he wakes up in a trunk, and there's a man on the roof with the dog. Right? Is the man with the dog?
Yep.
Yeah. And the guy is about to jump, and he assumes that this guy knows why he was locked up. And so he saves the guy.
He grabs his tie.
And
he says, "Wait, I need to tell you my story," right?
Yeah.
And then when he tells him...
Is that what he says? That's what he says to him, right?
Well, that's how the movie begins.
Holding
the guy by the tie over the building, and then they show all that, and then they end up back there. And then when he gets done, the guy's like, "Don't you want to hear my story?" And he's like, "No."
And right when he sees him, doesn't he like grab his face and start feeling his face and like smelling him, and like it's like
because he's never seen a human in 15 years,
dude. I mean, if you think about it, it's like such a proper and like that probably would be your reaction.
Oh yeah.
If you haven't seen or felt another person in 15 years, you would want to just.
And all he knows is karate from TV, and he's punching his wall to try to build up calluses because he's going to kill this motherfucker who put him in there, but he doesn't know who it is.
Yeah, and I love the John Wick scene when he goes straight John Wick on everybody.
Oh, dude, I mean, that scene is
one like of the... video game?
Yeah,
it's just a single shot, fight scene that's been
It really is. Yeah, you're right. It's like a video game fight scene.
Yeah, it reminded me of like playing like Altered Beast on my Sega Genesis.
Yeah.
But so he gets out, he goes, wants food, ends up at a sushi place, and a homeless guy gives him a phone and says, like, "Don't even bother asking me questions. I don't know anything. I was paid to do this." He walks in, he orders something live and eats a live octopus and passes out and wakes up at the home of like a beautiful, sushi chef. And
up and coming.
Yeah. Because they say women's hands are too cold, right? Is it like they're too warm? Okay.
For cold fish.
For cold fish, yeah. And just that whole sequence of the sushi shop and the doorbells when he closes it, and he passes out of nowhere, and you don't understand anything. And you almost don't understand until the very end, why anything happens. And this whole movie is just kind of brutal. This guy is like, even out of being in the isolation, he's still a prisoner to somebody knows everything about him. They know where he is. They can hear everything he's doing.
So he's not free at all.
He's not free at all.
He's far from being free.
And so he wants to find this person, but this person already knows where he is, and they're 10 steps ahead of him everywhere he goes. And so the fight scenes in this movie are probably some of the best of any film.
The fight scenes really are.
The first one where he's a bunch of like kind of gangster kids and the like.
The cigarette, yeah.
And
I love that when he takes the cigarette and he falls back. I want to bring up his sunglasses he's wearing are hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
They are so stupid looking.
But they're ladies' glasses.
Yeah. Are they? Okay, yeah.
Because he takes them from the Well, they show him in the elevator with that woman who's wearing them, and he's like,
got it.
out.
Okay, now that makes more
seen
sense
a
to
woman,
me.
right?
Yeah. And he's, as you know, his list shows all the affairs he's had. He's a horny devil.
Yeah.
But I mean, oh yeah.
There's something like a little Cobain-y with like the big glasses, and he's just like crazy hair, and he just like he's so capable because he's learned everything. He spent his entire last 15 years of trying to strengthen himself and smarten himself. And
I like right before the first fight scene, he says, "I wonder if training in private will work for the real thing," or does he say something to that degree?
Yeah,
what does he
say? He's like,
I wonder if
talking about what TV has prepared him to do.
Yeah, I wonder if fake training will actually be of use. And then he beats all their asses. He's like, it turns out it is, or something.
Yeah, and then he tries to spit his game with the sushi chef, and she like beats him over the head with like a knife, and he's like, turns out like 15 years of training did not work.
Yeah,
yeah.
So he goes, she beats him up. She's like, it's not that I don't like you, but when you hear the song, you'll know I'm ready and we're going to fuck. And I want you to fuck. She does this.
Yeah.
And she's like, give it to me. Even if I say no. That's what she says. Yeah.
So the first time I saw this actually wasn't with the subtitles. It was with the English dubbed.
No.
And when she goes like this, she was like, I'll be ready for it. Suck it to me.
Oh, no.
And I'm just like, oh my fucking God, no. If you ever want to hate this movie, watch it with the original English dub audio.
Or watch the new one.
Oh God, the Spike Lee one. Ooh.
Darren told me to say, okay, yeah, so we're all talking about the Spike Lee Oldboy this whole time. So, yeah, oh, dude, so the fight scenes are just absolutely fucking brutal. She's kind of like, when I'm ready, I might still resist, but I'll play this song and, just go for it and give it to me. And he starts his mission on trying to find who did this to him. And he's, he's ordering dumplings. And I really like that scene of just like how many different, I want to say the name of the place was like Blue Dragon something. It was like Blue Dragon something else.
But he only has like a part of the receipt.
He only
so
see
part of the title.
Right. And so he goes into these places and it's just him on a mission. He just takes one bite and spits it out, and then goes to the next place, takes one bite and like spits it out. It's like, it's not the one.
And he's always like, I didn't realize how many Chinese restaurants there were in Korea.
And he eventually he tastes the same one. He follows the delivery boy around to a couple places, I believe, and ends up at this big, massive building.
Oh, and what he says to the guy is like, tell your chef to put less scallions in the
That's right, yeah.
Like,
and the guy's just like, all right. Yeah. Sure. And yeah, I like that was he had a complaint because he had to eat the food. He was just like, for 15 years. They did such a good job of like, what is everything that would bother you about 15 years, and like getting to the point where you're almost breaking and having these, there's scenes with these hallucinations of ants crawling on you, which is like known as one of the main like first kind of signs of like actual psychosis. It's like a very common thing for people to see ants everywhere.
Yeah.
And then they use the ants as a metaphor of being lonely. And there's that scene of the giant ant on the train.
Yeah. See, I didn't remember that scene from the first time I saw it a long time ago.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. I for some reason I felt like the movie was older than it actually was. I thought the movie was made in like early 90s or something.
No, yeah.
So like, yeah, they had some tasteful like CGI stuff.
When they show his hand and then it obviously goes into like this anime 3D rendering of his arm
like coming out of his skin.
Yeah,
and
that's
all over his face.
Yeah. And like I always notice, like, because in the room there's a painting and on it says something along the lines of like, laugh once, the whole world laughs with you.
Oh no, it's laugh and the whole world laughs with you. Weep and you weep alone.
Yeah. Fucking devastating. And it's a perfect thing, but there's this picture of this deranged face on it. And when they show him with all the ants, it looks very similar to this thing that was there. And the whole theme was kind of summed up, like you said, with the, I'm not the beast. What was the beast quote?
Even though I'm no better than a beast, don't I deserve to live?
Right. So that one and the laugh and the whole world laughs with you is just kind of like this. He's isolated. He's alone. He's out. Everybody thinks he's a murderer. And he's trying to find this place. So he follows the whatever delivery guy, gets into this room, and he sees this giant room of TVs, and this real gangster looking motherfucker with a bunch of gold on him.
Yeah.
And he gets more and more brutally gangster looking by the end of the film because of the things that he does to him. But
and the guy's always like happy to do it because he gets paid.
Right.
For like people taking his teeth or his hand.
Yeah. He got sent it was like his thumb or his hand. Yeah, and he says something along the lines of like he got $2 million for chopping his hand off.
You should see the TVs in these rooms. Most people don't want to leave.
And so like there's this wall of screens, and you realize for the first time that this place there's like 100 rooms, and I mean not 100, it's probably 20 something rooms. This whole floor is people being imprisoned, and this guy's whole job is that very rich people will pay him to imprison people for however long he says, and they feed them, and they trim their nails, and they do whatever weird therapy kind of shit on these rooms, and so you kind of realize for the first time like, oh, this is like an organization, and he is trying to get the information from him, and that's where the whole long fight scene starts.
Dude, the hammer on the teeth, that scene, it's so hard for me to watch.
What gets me every time is the guy's tongue touches they show the
loose
hammer
tooth
on the tooth, and the tongue is touching the hammer, and you're like it's just so real, kind of like what would happen. Like that feels like that's what would happen, is you wouldn't know what to do, and you're freaking out, and you're using everything you can to try to get this hammer away from you, and it's his tongue is touching the hammer.
Well, that scene is edited so well.
Yeah.
Because he's able to put those images together in a way that feels like it really happened, and there's no way they faked it.
Right.
Like, just like for me, just seeing that hammer on the tooth and then just like a flood of blood coming from that incisor. It's just like,
it's terrible,
dude.
Yeah, this movie, I mean, I've seen more bloody movies, but when this movie is violent, it knows how to do it in a way that just gets under your skin.
Yeah, but it's like there's so many movies that are just violent to be violent, and they're just gory to be gory. And I think there's a time and place for that, because I love that kind of shit too, when it's just like, oh, this movie's just fucking brutal, and that's just what it is. But this movie, it brings you in there, it feels really real, and then it goes, and you're kind of like led up into this like other world. So he essentially beats the fuck out of like 100 guys, and it's one shot filmed through this thing. Like you said, it looks like a video game. It's amazing fucking fight
But
scene.
the actual choreography, is that what they call it for fight scenes?
Yep, fight choreography.
I mean, it's
so good.
So good, because every guy that comes at him, it's like it's a whole different thing.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the things Park Chan-wook does, and I think because he's such an emotionally intelligent director, which not every director is, but he's able to use like the obligatory like stuff in action movies, like these fight sequences and stuff, to tell like a very personal story of this guy's psyche. Yeah. So he's like almost taking you through the beats of like a traditional, not as smart action film to like, I don't know, tell the story in his way of this guy.
Right. Because you sympathize for this guy, and then you want him to learn what's going on. I think we should probably like not say the ending, obviously, so that people can actually watch it. But
who wrote Oldboy?
Park Chan-wook.
Yeah.
Oh, so
with his writing partner, and I know it's based on a manga.
And he directed it as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you know why he wrote this?
Like part of a trilogy.
Yeah, he's so.
It is? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's like a trilogy that's not like the same characters, but like kind of like a genre trilogy called His Revenge Trilogy.
Okay.
And it's the middle installment and by far the best.
Oh, see, I didn't even know that.
So the first one is Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance. Yeah, I watched that one. I loved it, but Oldboy is just the peak of everything for me. I just love this fucking film so much.
And then Lady Vengeance is
I saw that one as well.
Which I actually like Lady Vengeance a lot more than Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance. I think the director, Park Chan-wook, has done so many incredible movies.
Yeah.
Do you know why he was inspired to write a movie like Oldboy?
I don't. I mean, I did watch the video diary on the Blu-ray, which is like 3 hours of every shoot day on set.
Oh, really?
And they talk with him, and it's all subtitled. But I think just the character spoke to him and the story. But I think it's like any director. It's like who don't write their own original stories. A lot of times they'll take a book or take like a graphic novel or something, and if there's something in that speaks to them and something they think that they can add to with their own kind of perspective, they'll do it.
So you said it's based on a manga?
Yeah, from what I understand. I never read it.
Yeah.
But it makes sense because of how outlandish parts of it
Well,
are.
and it's very kind of like, now that you say that, like the fight scenes are kind of comic book strippy, like it does make sense, but it is such a brutal story. I'd have a hard time imagining. I guess I've never been. Is it manga or manga? I don't know how to pronounce it.
No, I'm not the expert.
You're not the guy. Okay,
on anime or manga.
I've never seen any of them really, but
I do know that one of the things that's interesting about it is how ironic it is that for all the bad shit this guy has done, the reason he's in that prison is for something that is 110% not his fault.
Right. Yeah.
Because we don't want to spoil.
We don't. I don't think we should spoil the absolute ending.
Oh, okay.
But it.
He's in there basically for the like sin of another man.
Yeah. I mean, without giving particulars away, he witnesses like a sexual assault.
Yeah.
And tells somebody about it.
But
that's
even,
the reason he's being punished.
But even when he tells someone about it, he says, "Don't repeat this.
Yeah.
I don't want this like coming out." You know what I'm right? Doesn't he says that to his friend?
It's more about rumors.
Yeah, you're
he
right.
said, "Don't start
rumors.
spreading this around." But the guy spreads it around, and
so maybe he should have gone to the authorities.
but you know what I mean? I didn't catch that. I didn't remember that from the first time I watched the movie.
Yeah.
But when I watched it the other night, when he tells his friend about what he saw, he specifically tells his friend, "Don't be like loose-lipped about what I just told you."
Yeah.
Basically.
And the friend is, of course, loose-lipped.
Yeah.
The friend's a dipshit.
Well, and you're in high school. It's if you think in real life, like they're in high school or whatever, and you know, what are you going to do if your friend tells you something that somebody else did that's really gross or weird or something? Then you're going to say it. And so the whole but how small the actual thing is, in my opinion, was it a sexual assault or was it kind of just they were like
incest?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I would say that falls under the. I mean, she very clearly tells him no, and he just wears her down.
Yeah.
But. Yeah, it's like a brother and his sister, and he's like wanting to take pictures of her like vagina and like touch her boobs and stuff like that. Like just gross, awful things.
Yeah.
The worst thing you could ever do to a sibling.
But and so there's what I love is just to him, it was absolutely nothing. Like for him he told his friend and then he forgot about it for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
And to this other person,
it's their whole life.
Their entire life. It's fully consuming, and they've built their entire empire so they can use every resource that they eventually will make to make sure this guy fucking understands what he did. And that's kind of like one of the biggest things near the end, without saying what is happening, is just that he knows that this was nothing to him.
Well, yeah.
Like he knows that you thought nothing of this after it happened, but for me, it's like destroyed everything.
Well, yeah. Because as much as it's about Odaisu's revenge, it's also about, I forget, the villain's revenge. And neither of their revenges are satisfying. That last scene with the villain in the elevator is like just showing like, even though he got revenge on what happened, he feels no different.
Right.
He doesn't feel any better.
And then like the relief of the last scene in the woods too, to just be like, can we just erase this?
Ignorance is bliss.
Right.
Taken to the extreme.
Well, another interesting, like, it's so hard to explain, but like, you know how you're saying the only reason he was in prison was because of that thing that wasn't necessarily his fault. Mm-hmm. But there's also this whole other concept of like, well, he's being imprisoned maybe because of all these terrible things he did when he was younger. And maybe this is how this kind of karmic thing is working out. And it's like, I don't know. I think there's so many overlapping themes.
Yeah.
And the way that everything ties together, it's just, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. It's by far one of my favorite movies ever made. The story is so deep. It's so good. And it's so brutal and kind of fucked up and gross. And
and passionate.
Yeah,
because if he was never imprisoned, he wouldn't go through those stages of where he's got his journal, he's writing in all these journals and confessing to all the things that he did. So it's like
it bettered himself.
It's like almost like it was almost like for a purpose for him to like evolve, and become better in a lot of ways. But then at the end, he can't just let go. He needs to know. He needs to know why he was in there, and that puts him all the way back to square one again.
Right. Yeah, and it's kind of like a big thing.
Do you know what I mean? It's like
his biggest revenge on this guy would to be let out and be like, I don't give a shit. I'm living with my life.
Yeah,
yeah.
And like, imagine what that would do to the villain. Who
like that's what and that's an interesting thing that the director's trying to show. Like, I guess, that's very interesting. Because if he would have just let go and didn't need that revenge again, it's like it's showing at the end almost that he's doing the same thing the other guy has done for the last 15 years. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, they're kind of like two sides of the coin, and just characters that are, I guess, in the most like widespread way you could say, it's just because humans are so flawed and vain and fucked up.
Well, the Beast quote.
The Beast.
That's what it is.
But but we still have to have empathy for us, even though we're such pieces of shit that are destroying the world.
Yeah, and I think like that whole, the whole, it being such a minuscule thing that actually spiraled this entire thing. It's like, it's very much like how trauma works, where it's like one person's trauma could be, horrific, whatever they saw, something that happened to them, whatever. It could be this massive fucking trauma where it would be like, that's fucking traumatic. Oh, yeah. Another person's trauma could be, something somebody said to them, and then they just never let it go. And that trauma
and it turns into a massive.
Well, that trauma can affect that person the same way that this multiple car accident, fucking brutal, whatever, or like, you know what I mean?
Because the worst thing that's ever happened to you is the worst thing that's ever happened to you.
Right. And it's like the way you think. And so that's what I kind of get out of this too, is just, it's, something that is nothing to you can be something so fucking massive for somebody else, and something that you feel is like the end of the world for yourself is like for a majority of other people it could be nothing. And so there's like all this crazy fucking beauty
until we talked about this today. I didn't realize how much deep symbolism is actually in that film.
Yeah, it is
because a lot of people would watch it and write it off as this like deranged, like, oh, this is just like, whoever made this is fucked up.
Yeah.
But human beings are fucked up.
Yeah.
We are all fucked up, and we do a lot of fucked up stuff. And like, it almost like you're saying, he like goes into the characters to like explain that.
And there's nothing like really out of character that goes on. Like everything is kind of like, well, if this happened to this person, then obviously that's what would happen next. But it just takes you on this fucking route that you're just like, where are we? And what's about to happen? And I remember the first time watching it and getting to that, elevator scene at the end, and you're just like, what the fuck is happening in this movie? Like, I know something's about to happen. And you look in I remember his reflection. It's just like beautifully shot. The whole thing is just like, oh no, I fucking love
and he's
this
reaching
movie.
out for her hand, and it's like, you don't know what timeline you're in at that point.
Yeah.
Dude, when I first saw it, I remember my stomach feeling that pit in my stomach when he opened the album.
Oh, dude, I still felt it. Like I watched it twice in the last week.
It's so horrific, and
I also I feel like people don't talk about, I love the score.
Yeah,
the score is so operatic and dramatic.
The music,
that orchestral song that's now it's famous for the Chef's Table. That's like all throughout the movie, and when I watched, I was like, oh, that's why I always think when I hear that music, because it sounds so intense. It's like perfectly, I believe it's in one of the fight scenes, something in Oldboy, but I'm just like, it's the perfect pick, because I wouldn't think, oh, we're going to go to this classical song while something fucking brutal is happening on screen. But yeah, I don't know. The cinematography, the storytelling, everything was directed perfectly. And
acting, the lead actor is, not only does he have to create this character, but he has to do like the physical fight choreography stuff. Eat a live animal that is in direct conflict with his religion.
Yeah.
And like, I think his name's Choi Min-suk, and that is not a correct pronunciation. I'd be willing to bet my life.
Yeah.
But he's been in a lot of Korean movies, and he is always like the best part of everything he's in. Usually plays a villain,
Really?
Yeah, he was in Lady Vengeance. He played a kindergarten teacher who was a child killer and pedophile. And, like, he's also played killers and, like, I Saw the Devil.
Oh, that movie's great.
But, yeah, he played the main killer in that. But it's cool in Oldboy he gets to play the hero and kind of show what range he has and how dynamic of an actor he is.
There's so many, like, watching that film really opened my eyes to the whole like foreign films, and then also especially like Korean dramas and horror and just Asian horror in general. And like there's so many fucking amazing movies, and for like there's so many people that refuse to watch movies because there's subtitles.
I love watching movies with subtitles now.
Yeah.
I watch everything.
I feel like I can focus more.
Yeah.
Or it'll make me, like, if I commit to like, all right, I'm gonna watch this movie with subtitles, it commits me to really put my phone away and like pay attention.
Yeah, and you don't miss a word.
Yeah. You don't miss a word.
I have it on. I have subtitles on for everything I watch now. Yeah.
Well, I grew up doing it because my mom's half deaf.
Okay.
So growing up, anything watching with her, I had to watch with subtitles on.
Yeah.
Were there any movies? I just want to ask this. I know we're like probably nearing the end right now, but were there any movies as a kid, or like what was the first movie you saw that scared the shit out of you?
Candyman.
Ooh,
I saw
dude.
when I was 8 years old.
Dude, I rewatched. I watched the OG Candyman not that long ago.
It's scary.
Did you see the remake?
Yeah.
Yeah. What'd you think?
I think the remake was like the best it could be given the circumstances.
Yeah.
I like when they remake
I would say
stuff
so
and
too.
They're like, we want to tell this story that's different. We're not really remaking it. It's kind of a sequel, but it's doing with it what we would have done if we would have made the original, which I think is interesting rather than like a just shot for shot remake to make money.
Right.
Dude, you saw Candyman when you're 8, that would have scared the shit out of me at 8.
Well, it's a lot of ideas too, like a lot of like systemic racism and like housing projects and like shit.
Was that the first like African American horror like lead? It had to have been, right?
No, actually, you know who was? I think the first was the main character from Night of the Living Dead in 1968.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Which was released during all the civil rights stuff. And they had like a black lead in their movie, which was insane for the time.
Have you ever seen the movie Frailty?
Yeah.
That movie scared the shit out of me.
Oh,
I think I was like 12 when I saw it, but it really, really scared me.
Yeah.
And just the like psychologically, it was such a scary idea that like your father could just go off on this thing where he starts bringing people home and
I think the Sixth
under the
Sense
guise of God
and thinks that he's doing God's work.
Yeah, I love Bill Paxton too.
Is he the one that is he the actor in that or the director? Or?
He plays the dad and he's also the writer director.
Got you. Okay, yeah. I know he's in a bunch of different movies.
Yeah, Aliens. Yeah. He's the game over man.
Mm-hmm. Really my scary one as a kid was Sixth Sense. It fucked me up. The scene with the mother.
And the girl under the bed and she's vomiting.
Yeah, and from the
that
poisoning.
Scene scared the shit
and
out
like
of me
what
too.
was so I think that's what I also like about Ari Aster's movies too, because they're like he has a lot of like weird mommy issues in his fucking films. And,
Beau is Afraid is a giant mommy issue.
Beau is Afraid, fucking Hereditary is like very like this insane mom who's like scary and don't understand what's going on.
Even Midsommar.
Yeah, Midsommar.
The setup for it.
Right. But to me I think one of the reasons I attach so much to that is in the Sixth Sense with the mom being this like murderer, and you like realize, I don't know, just as a kid I had such like a nice loving mother, and to like ever think that the mom would be like dangerous and you'd be
terrifying,
scared,
bro.
It's like, because that to me at the time of watching it was like that was like the safest person I've ever met.
Yeah.
And I could never even like the concept of that person not being good, which is a reality for a lot of people. I was lucky to have that, but just like be like, this like person is, what if they were bad? Like it's just, it fucked me up. It was so scary.
Yeah. I love the Sixth Sense now too, because I think it's like more so than scary. It's just such a moving drama about ghosts. Like even beyond the whole Bruce Willis thing, like the key like relationship in Sixth Sense is between the mom and the son, and that ending car scene where they talk about the grandma, which is like, for my money, best scene of the movie.
Yeah. I haven't seen that in forever.
It's revisit it. It's definitely the best movie of M. Night Shyamalan's career.
Yeah.
Which I know he has his fans, but like the last couple movies I've seen of his,
I still can't help but watch them. I don't care.
Oh yeah, I will go see them every time they come out.
Same,
but never
dude.
love them.
Yeah.
I haven't seen one in a while. I watched The Village, and I was like, I'm done.
There's some that I can't help but admit that I enjoy watching.
Oh yeah,
I enjoyed watching The Happening. I enjoyed it.
Oh man,
it's not good. I'm not telling you it's good. I'm just saying, like, if it was on right now, I'd watch it.
Yeah, I would not. Yeah,
it's like there's something I love. I think there's a part of it that was supposed to be that way. Like, I really think that it was supposed to be. Like, even with Mark Wahlberg's acting in it, it's just so like ridiculous.
He looks like he's reading cue cards.
It's unreal,
him as a science teacher. Yikes! Yank your kid out of that school. Yeah.
Oh man, well we should probably wrap it up. We've kind of come a long way.
The next one will be about The Happening.
No, absolutely not. I'm not watching that. But no, dude, thank you for sitting down and like talking about Oldboy. And I think everybody that's listening to this should go watch the movie because we left out a lot, even though it sounds like we didn't. And it's such an incredible movie, and I'm glad that you love it as much as I do.
Oh, thanks. Also, check out a lot of Korean cinema.
Yeah.
It is very good. Bong Joon-ho, Park Chan-wook, and this guy Lee Chang-dong, I think, are the best Korean
What's
directors.
Lee Chang's?
Lee Chang did Burning, which came out in 2018. He mostly does dramas. So unlike Bong Joon-ho and Park Chan-wook, there's usually not a fantastical element.
Yeah.
But he does these like really searing, thought-provoking, deep dramas. He did, before Memento came out, he did this movie in reverse called Peppermint Candy. And it's about a drunk guy who throws himself in front of a train to get hit. And each segment is like 2 months before that, 10 years before that, 15 years before that. And they tell what led him to that point.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's like him going through all these different professions. At one point, he's a cop. And it all leads back to like this incident that happened when he was in the military that just fucked him up for life.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to check that one out. Yeah. So text me that one. I want to check that. I think my favorite of like the more recent ones is The Wailing.
Oh, yeah. I
don't know who did that one.
Kim Jun something or not. I don't know. But I've seen it. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I really like that one. I thought it was like a really creative depiction of like the devil, because usually it's like not scary when you see the devil and it's just a red guy with horns. But this one was just like, it was cool.
It was scary.
And there's always like subtle racism against the Japanese in a lot of the Korean movies.
And how much of a dipshit the main cop is.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, which they're always... a lot of the best Korean movies I've seen are like very political when it comes to like police and like the military and like that side of their country. They're like always commenting on that, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Do you have anything you want to plug? Like upcoming stuff you have going on, or
Yeah, I have a pizza party improv show with just me and my buddy Sam. It's 2-man improv. It's going to be Friday, February 23rd. At the Bridge Improv Theater in Tempe, Arizona, near ASU. 8:30 p.m. show. It's going to be real good. Really good improv. If you've never seen improv before, don't worry. You'll get used to it.
Yeah, we got to cruise out.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
I'm down.
Cool.
Awesome. Hell yeah, man, dude. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
That was fun. Yeah, we'll drop your links to everyone so they know how to follow you. And
cool.
Peace out.
Camp's out.